A very warm good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 93rd Zentex Talks. As you would all be knowing, we are continuously holding this webinar for the past 93 weeks. But there was a gap in the last week. You would have come to know that we have made a stall in the TN startup. And thank you very much from the bottom of our heart for the wholehearted response in the stall. So coming back to today's topic, so the most important thing now, going at as we are all at the eve of Diwali, there is one thing that is between us and Diwali, that is the GST or TB due date. Of course, there are various representations from many associations saying that the due date should be extended. But yeah, we are not very sure of the due date extension. Therefore, I urge everyone to file within tomorrow, as Sunday and Monday would generally be a holiday. So I request you everyone to file within tomorrow. The one most important thing I would like to make notice, whatever the changes that had been put in the IMS portal comes only from the October tax period. That is, while filing October GST return, you would be ideally filing it in the mid of November. That time only you would have come across many WhatsApp messages or GST advisories, BAR advisory. All that is only with respect to from October tax period and not with respect to September tax period. So this period remains the same as the previous 2 months. So whatever amendment came before 2 months, that carries for this month too. So we need not dwell more upon what should be done before filing this 3-way MT link. But in this webinar, I will be covering what are all the changes that are upcoming in the that we have to keep in mind in the next 2 returns that I will be definitely making note of. But for this GST or 3B, tomorrow is our internal due date, and I request all the participants to file GST or 3B within tomorrow, as we are not looking for an extension as of now. So the most important thing with respect to filing September GST or 3B return is, of course, everyone is aware of the fact that there are some changes in many goods with respect to GST rates, which was fondly called as GST 2.0 by the government. So for that, for same HSN, for example, if a textile industry is taken, many 12% products has come to 5%. So you should please make sure that whatever you have supplied after 22/9/2025 is correctly amended. Even if you have not raised the corresponding correct invoice, correct rate invoice, please make sure to raise the debit note or the concerned credit note for us to get the exact GST value. Because if in future, definitely for this period, scrutiny will come, inspection will be coming. 1 minute. Sorry for the interruption. There was some internet issues. Yeah. So with respect to this, what we have to keep in mind is, you please segregate the invoice before 21/9/2025 and after 22/9/2025, because there has been some rate change in many industries. Of course, you would have raised the right invoice because everyone was aware of the fact for that their industry if the GST rate was changed or not. But please make sure to correctly reflect it in GSTR1 also. You have already filed the GSTR1. If not, some mistake is made in GSTR1, please rectify it in GSTR3B, so that subsequently the GSTR1 at least can be amended. It can amended even now through GSTR1A. So please make sure, because in any of the previous months, in the mid of the month, for many industries, the GST rate amendments hasn't come so far since the inception of GST. So this is the first month. So I kindly request everyone to not go away with like if there is some HSN code to put the tax value. For example, if you are doing a B2C supply, inadvertently if you commit a tax rate and put the 18% tax value, if it has been subsequently amended to 5%, then there would be some mismatches between GSTR1 and GSTR3B. Therefore, I kindly request you to please make sure if there is any change with respect to your industry's GST rate and you have correctly disclosed it in the GST returns. That is, you have bifurcated into before 21/9/2025 and after 22/9/2025. I have already said this in the earlier webinar. The same tabulation was shown in the earlier webinar too. That is, before 22nd September 2025, if you have supplied, if any two of the time of issue of invoice, time of receipt, and time of supply, in the three, if any two are falling before 22nd September, then the old rate will apply. If any two is after falling 22nd September, then the new rate of tax will apply. I think many of you would know it, but please make sure while filing GSTR3B that you are filing the GST amount, tax amount with the correct amended GST rate. So the next most thing is invoice management system. As I had already clearly mentioned, that the changes that has been given wide advisory dated September 23, 2025 and the subsequent advisory that was given in the first week of October 2025 only is applicable from the October tax period. The advisory itself clearly given that the date for which the amendment would ideally take place is October tax period. We have also confirmed it in the portal because many amendments which they have listed in the advisory has not come live in the portal yet. So whatever I am telling now, it is applicable only from the October 2025 tax period. Why we thought that it is the right time to inform this to the audience with this webinar means, while filing the GST invoices, while booking the GST invoices, or while accounting the GST invoice itself, please make sure that this would be the amended invoice management system henceforth from the October 2025 return. Again, I would like to clarify that this is not applicable in the September 2025 GSTR3B that you are going to file tomorrow. So the first most, to give a brief, everyone would know that what is IMS because for the past year, the first advisory with respect to IMS, or the first release that was given with respect to IMS was way back in September 2024. So they have told that they will enable IMS, then they have enabled IMS, then they have given a draft module, then they told where it will be enabled in the portal, then they have given various FAQs. You can also refer to our invoice management system, detailed webinar on invoice management system by our mentor CAP Paul Tangam sir. That will be available in our YouTube channel. So with respect to IMS, there are various FAQs given, but with respect to October 2025, on 23/9/2025, they have given that there will be some amendments in how MIS looks and how MIS operates. So that is what we are going to see in this webinar detailedly. Beforehand, to those who are not very sure of what IMS itself, I will give you a brief. If a supplier files his sales outward supplies in GSTR1, it will automatically get reflected in GSTR2B. You would have come across many notices saying that whatever reflected in GSTR2A or GSTR2B for that period, say for example financial year 1920, for this, these GSTR2A invoices are there. For example, insurance invoices are there, or vehicle invoices are there. For that, GST ITC cannot be taken. In such case, the taxpayer cannot prove that for what invoices he has taken ITC or for what invoices he has not taken ITC, because previously we all know that there is only the net figure that we have to give in GSTR3B. Of course, there was after a circular number 170 which mandated temporary reversal and permanent reversal wide 4B1 and 4B2 of form GSTR3B. But even though that invoice-wise details you would ideally never given GSTR3B. Whatever in GSTR2B, the taxpayer will always claim that they have availed that only in GSTR3B. But for example, if there is prior month invoice or prior year invoice that was already reflected in GSTR2B and you are claiming it in this month only, you cannot prove to the satisfaction of the officer that you have not claimed that earlier in the earlier tax period and you are claiming it only now, because the time limit for availing ITCs, we all know, for the financial year is the following November 30. For financial year 2024-25, the time limit for availing ITC is November 30, 2025. See, what might have happened is in September 2024, I might have received an invoice in GSTR 2B, but that invoice, as there would be many invoices in GSTR 2B, if ours is a large procurement unit, we might have not had the bill during that time, during filing that GSTR 3B, that period GSTR 3B. During that time, we would have not taken ITC of that particular supply. Now, as we got the bill from the supplier, we also know that this bill has already been shown by the supplier in the September 2024 GSTR 3, GSTR 1 itself. So it got ideally reflected in our GSTR 2B in September 2024 itself. So the time limit for availing ITC with respect to September 2024 is November 2025. November 30, 2025, which we should make ideally in October 2025 return. Say, for example, you are taking that ITC, if you are taking that ITC in October 2025 return, means the department automatically questions you asking why October 2025 2B and October 2025 3B doesn't match. It is very tough for the taxpayer, from the feet of the taxpayer, it is very tough for him to explain to the satisfaction of the officer to say that, sir, this invoice what I have missed in September 2024 GSTR 2B, what I have missed to take from September 2024 GSTR 2B only, I have availed in October 2025. It is very tough for the proper officer to accept. He goes on to check the September 2024 returns also. If there are some adjustments in September 2024 returns also, then it is very tough for the taxpayer to prove his point, which leads to very much the confusion. The very sole reason for this confusion is we couldn't give invoice-based details in GSTR 3B. So that problem is sorted in IMS. So in IMS, once the supplier files GSTR 1, with respect to IMS, you will get all the details. What would be in GSTR 2B before that you would get in IMS. If you select accept or do nothing, it would treat as deemed accepted and it will get shifted to GSTR 2B. So what and all you have accepted or deemed accepted in that month IMS, it is reflected in that month GSTR 2B and would have ultimately been availed by you in that month GSTR 3B. Likewise, it would be very easy for the taxpayer and the assessee and taxpayer and the proper officer to know that for what invoices you would have taken ITC. For example, for the incidents what I told before, September 2024, if invoice is there, if you have kept pending and if you are taking it now, the officer would definitely know that the invoice what you missed in September 2024, what you have kept pending in September 2024 only, you are availing in October 2025. So that would be much easier. So IMS, from the point of view of us, it is a very, very welcome system. But there are some amendments frequently coming on to it. I think it would take some more months to settle. I'm very sure that from the financial year 26-27, this IMS problem would be settled very much, and everyone would be aware of how it exactly works, and it would be very useful for this, and for attending the prospective year's notice also it would be very helpful, because in many cases the notice given now with respect to financial year 17-18 to financial year 23-24 pertains to this issue only. You would have generally you would have seen the ASMT 10 form of ASMT 10 notice you would have been aware of. The format would be very simple. First, GST 3B with 2B will be given. Then the alleged ineligible ITC will be tabulated. So it was very tough from the point of the taxpayer to explain what he has availed in GST 3B and what he has not availed. So with the inception of IMS, that problem would majorly solve. So what is the change now with respect to October 2025 return? What is the change they are they are forelooking in the IMS front is, first thing, we all know that there has been a major concern with respect to credit notes and debit notes with respect to IMS, because if I have received a credit note, there is only two options as on September 2025 in the IMS portal. You can either accept it or you should reject it. You should either accept it or you should reject it. If you accept it, your ITC will be reduced. Your ITC, GST or 3B ITC will be reduced. If you reject it, the supplier's GST or 3B liability will increase in the subsequent month. For example, in the July 2025, you are receiving a credit note from a supplier, you have mistakenly rejected it. Unknowingly, you couldn't find the credit note exactly, physical credit note copy from the supplier, so you would have rejected it in the portal. Then what it becomes is, it automatically gets added to the output liability of the supplier in the subsequent return, that is August 2025 return. So in that case, the recipient of credit note didn't even have the time to keep it pending, because he should either accept it or reject it. For it is not with respect to the same with respect to B2B supplies, because with respect to B2B supplies, there are three options ideally: accept, reject, or pending. You accept it when you acknowledge that it is your bill and you are claiming ITC. You reject it if you are not associated with this bill. You keep it pending if you are not sure that if it is your bill or not. You keep it pending, it will get carried forward to the subsequent month, and subsequent month you can accept or reject. But with respect to credit note or debit note, this facility was not there, and this facility is being introduced from October 2025 return, which is a very welcome move. But one thing you should keep in mind is, with respect to other supplies like B2B, you can keep it pending up to the time limit of availing it. Like for example, you can keep the September 2024 invoice as pending and carry it forward till November 2025, because the last date for availing ITC for September 2024 bill is November 2025. So that you can do. But with respect to credit note or debit note, or for that matter, what and all has been listed here, the four things that has been listed here, which is mainly associated with the credit note and debit note, that you can keep it only 1 month pending. So the department, the government intends to give additional 1 month time for the acceptance or rejectance of debit note or credit. So we should, with respect to credit note or debit note, we should be very careful, because once it gets rejected, it gets automatically added to the supplier's liability. So we should be very careful in treating the acceptance or rejectance of credit note or debit note, for which the additional 1 month time will be very beneficial to locate it, identify it, and to take an appropriate action on it. So the next thing is, ITC need not be deducted if the same was not availed. This we have come across many questions, many queries from the industry, saying that, for example, we have got a vehicle. We have got a vehicle. We have got vehicle maintenance. For the sake of brevity, you can tell we have got a vehicle maintenance. The vehicle is a car used by the managing director. So as per section 17 subsection 5, the ITC is blocked. So what you would have ideally done, for example, the ITC got reflected in 100 rupees, ITC got reflected in your August 2024 IMS. What you would have ideally done is, you would have included that ITC in 4A5 of GST or 3B. All other ITC, in all other ITC column, you would have included it in 4A5 of GST or 3B. Then you would have made a permanent reversal. I would like to emphasize on that. Many professionals are confusing within the fact whether they have to put some item as an permanent reversal via 4B1 or temporary reversal via 4B2. We strongly recommend you to put only permanent reversal or blocked credit with respect to section 17 subsection 5. What and all are blocked credit, you should put it in 4B1. What and all you would have, you have not received the goods, so you would be availing the ITC afterwards, that you should ideally put 4B2. So coming back to this, what you would have ideally done for this vehicle maintenance ITC is, you would have added it in 4A5 all other ITC, and you would have correctly subtracted or reversed it in table 4B1 permanent reversal of GSTR 3B that you would have done. Now, for example, for that 100 rupees invoice, you are getting a credit note of 20 rupees now. In the September 2025 IMS, you are getting a credit note of 20 rupees. So there was a confusion among the industry to say that whether we should deduct that ITC or not. Everyone, logically, we know that we are not liable to reverse that ITC because we have not taken that ITC itself in the first place. But what if the credit note appears in the IMS and if we can accept or reject it? That was the question there. You can definitely reject it and go ahead because in the first place you have not taken the ITC itself. If you accept it, the reduced value only will come into your GSTR 3B 4A5, which is wrong because you would have already reversed it. So that credit note you can definitely reject it. Should not be an issue. So the next thing that we should keep in mind is the next important amendment is while taking reject or pending action on records. For example, you are getting an invoice in the IMS and you are not very sure if it is your invoice, your supplier's invoice, or you have not got the corresponding bill to it. So you are keeping it pending. In that case, you can communicate to the supplier, who has uploaded that invoice via this IMS itself. You can save it as remarks. Of course, this functionality has not been enabled in the September 2025 IMS, but going forward from the October 2025 IMS, it will be enabled because from Mr. A, you are getting an invoice means you are not very sure who is Mr. A. So you don't seem to get associated with Mr. A itself. So if you don't have any contact of him, you couldn't directly contact and tell him also for what whether erroneously he has uploaded that invoice or not. So in that case, as you have already known in the GSTR portal, communication between taxpayers, one channel is there separately in the GST portal. Similarly, with respect to particular invoice itself, you can put a remark which the supplier will get definitely note of. In his outward supply view, he will get a remarks column and he'll get a view, whatever you have typed. Or for example, 100 rupees he has uploaded, but he has given a bill for rupees 120. You can definitely put it in the portal. Of course, you are going to mail him or you are going to telephone him, that is different. But you can put a record in the GST portal itself telling him that 100 is not the correct value, 120 is the correct value. So the communication can be in the GST portal itself, which is also a very, very welcome. Other aspects to be seen while filing GSTR 3B is the next 2 months GSTR 3B is I hope that for the financial year 24-25, the statutory audit is almost over. Of course, it is extended to October 31, 2025. In Zentrax, we had a session with respect to tax audit in the first week of October. That was part 1. Of course, the following week we would have ideally part 2. We thought that as GST 3B filing is the need of the hour, we will cut it and we'll move into GST 3B with respect to GST 3B today. But in the following week, you would have definitely a session on tax audit. So that is one thing. I hope that statutory audit is completed for the financial year 24-25 or almost in the stage of completion for financial year 24-25 as the due date is October 31, 2025 and the ITR due date is also not extended as of now. Both the tax audit report due date and the ITR due date stands at 31st October 2025 as of now. So I hope that you have reconciled all the financial year 24-25 invoices. So if any ITC you have left out, you have claimed, you have received it in GSTR 2B, but you have not claimed in GSTR 3B, means please make sure that you claim within 30/11/2023 because ITC is not a vested right. Only if you claim it, you would be able to avail that ITC. So therefore, for the financial year 24-25 ITC, if you have missed to claim it within the deadline of 30/11/2025, then it would be very tough for us to claim it in the forthcoming months because earlier what the taxpayer would ideally do is mix and match things because he would not give the breakup at all. He would not give the breakup at all in GSTR 3B. But as of now, the IMS came it would be very tough for you to avail the missed out ITC of the previous financial year after the due date expires. So please make sure, I hope everyone has a ready reconciliation now. What and all is GSTR 2B, you would have ideally claimed in GSTR 3B, I very much hope. But if it is missed out, please have a separate reconciliation system and please claim it within 30/11/2025. So that thing is very important. That is ideally within filing October return, because November return doesn't get enabled within 30/11/2025 actually. 3B you can file only after generation of GSTR 2B. So ideally within October 2025 return, the next return, forthcoming return, you should be able to claim all the financial year 24/25. So that is the first and most important thing. So the next thing is, if GSTR alone is filed by our supplier and GSTR 3B is not filed, because in GSTR 3B only they are paying taxes. If they have not filed GSTR 3B, the ITC shall be reversed. This you would have received many notices from the yesteryears saying that the supplier has not filed GSTR 3B, so you should reverse the ITC. Because we reconcile only GSTR 2B and GSTR 3B, so we are of the view that once GSTR 2B is generated correctly, we can claim it in GSTR 3B. No, there is a separate rule in Rule 37A of GST Rules, CGST Rules 2017, saying that if the supplier has not filed GSTR 3B, you are not eligible to claim that ITC. If you have claimed that ITC, you should ideally reverse it within 30/11/2025 with interest. So that thing is given. Of course, when he has subsequently filed the GSTR 3B belatedly, you can re-avail it. That should not be an issue. But as on 30/11/2025, you should definitely reverse it, because this can be easily fetchable from the GSTR 2A itself. Once you, as GSTR 9 and 9C also is enabled, that is the fresh news in the past week, GSTR 9 and 9C for the financial year 24/25 is enabled. So in that itself, if table 8A is there, if you could download table 8A, in that itself, you can see whether GSTR 3B has been filed by the supplier for the corresponding period or not. In that you can check if GSTR 3B is not filed by the supplier. Please let them know and please push them to file the GSTR 3B within 30/11/2025. So there is no liability on our part. Of course, there is a very significant improvement with respect to the yesteryear's notices that we saw and the notices that we are going to see in the preceding years, because earlier for the 12 months also in the financial year 2018-19 and all, for the entire 12 months also I can file GSTR 1 alone and I can continue to file GSTR 1 alone. But from the financial year 23-24, there has been a specific restriction saying that if you didn't file GSTR 3B for the last period, you cannot proceed to file GSTR 1 for the next period. Similarly, e-way bill will be locked. So many challenges are there. So I hope that many suppliers would have filed both GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B, but if there are some ad hoc suppliers, like 1 or 2 suppliers only you have availed from them. In that scenario, please make sure that that particular supplier filed GSTR 3B also, because then in future liability will be borne by us. So to please avoid that, please get a reconciliation, and if at all any supplier has defaulted in filing GSTR 3B within 30/11/2025, make sure you reverse it in your GSTR 3B return. Next thing is, as per section 31, you should get the credit notes for the financial year 24/25 within 30/11/2025. For example, if you, for an invoice in April 2024, or March 2025, you are intending to raise a credit note, means please raise it within 30/11/2025. Otherwise, it is your liability cannot be reduced. It would be treated as financial credit notes, and your liability cannot be reduced. GST liability will stand as such. So if there are any credit notes, please raise it within 30/11/2025. This also has made a separate entry in ASMT 10 scrutiny notices, telling that if the credit notes are legally binding, if as per section 31, the reductionist liability is valid, so the return scrutiny is asking us to prove whether we have rightfully reduced the tax with respect to credit notes. So please make sure that whatever credit notes you are intending to raise for the financial year 24/25, you have raised within the due date 30/11/2025. that is envisaged in Section 31 of CGST Act 2017. Yeah. So the next thing is passing any amendments. So in GSTR 1, if you are filing a B2B supply, if you have committed any mistake, you can amend it in subsequent returns. That should not be an issue, but there's a time limit for it. As per Section 37, you should amend it within 30/11/2023. What and all are 2024-25 invoices, because while amending that, you should give an invoice number which you have already made an entry of in GSTR 1. If you are making last financial 22-23 invoice now, the portal will not allow you to amend it. This mainly where the problem arises here is with respect to export invoices, mainly with respect to export with payment of IGST invoices. Because in export with payment of IGST invoices, we all know that only if the details given in our GSTR 1, GSTR 3B and the shipping bill details match as per the iState portal, the transaction will get through to the iState portal, then the IGST refund will be credited to us. So if there are any errors, for example, a small round of error with respect to IGST value in GSTR 1 and the shipping bill, then the IGST refund would not have been sanctioned and would not have been received by you. In that scenario, if any amendment is to be made, you should ideally make within 30/11/2025. If you're not making within 30/11/2025, then you should go only to the courts and get that refund. You should prove your authenticity and then only get the refund, which is a very big roundabout. So I request everyone to have a clear check on whether all the IGST refunds that you have made, IGST exports that you have made in the financial year 24-25, for all that you have received a refund till now. If any shipping bill or any invoices refund is pending to be received for the financial year 24-25, please make sure that there is no error on our part in filing GSTR 1. If you go to in the portal itself, there is a separate option called track invoice status shared with iState. In that itself, for every month, you can see what and all is thrown to the iState portal. If it is thrown to the iState portal, then with respect to our GSTR 1, there is never a problem. If it is not thrown, if it is showing some error, means it would have been due to many errors, saying that you have missed to enter a shipping bill number. You have misentered the port code, you would have misentered the IGST value, you would have misentered the taxable value. So in many cases, even if it is a round up value, the transaction will not get through to the iState portal. So please make a genuine check. I am very sure with respect to export refund, all the exporters are very keen on whether they have received refund or not. But also before the due date, please make sure that all the refunds has been thrown to the gate and we have received refund for everything. So the next thing is October 25, 2025, after Diwali, ITC 04 due date is there. ITC 04 is the least hyped form in the GST era itself, because ITC 04 is ideally filed by persons who supplies goods to job workers and get it done through the job work. So there is no exemption at all. Even if you send one invoice, you should file ITC 04. There has been only with respect to some relaxation, saying that if your previous year turnover is less than 5 crores, then you need not file ITC 04 half yearly. You may file ITC 04 annually. So that is the only option given. But even if you give one job work with respect to any industry, if you are, for example, if you are supplying goods and not charging tax because you are sending it to job work, so that should be definitely disclosed separately in a form named ITC 04, because otherwise the department might in the future consider those transactions which has gone without the invoice as sales, that you have sold the goods to the job worker. So it would be very tough on our part if we wish to disclose ITC 04. So please make sure ITC 04 is filed, even if not retrospectively filed. Please make sure for the financial year 2017-18, 2018-19, it was made voluntary. Since financial year 2019-20, for the initial 19-20 and 2021 period, it was quarterly. From after that, it has become half yearly, and for after more than less than 5 crores turnover small units, the periodicity has become annual. So any retrospective corrections, please file ITC 04 from financial year 2019-20 itself. If you think it is not possible at all to file 2019-20, check with consultant. You can reach out to us. But if you are sure that you have not had the sufficient details to say, because in the ITC 04 they ask for challan number, in which challan number it went, how many kgs it went, how many kgs it returned, how many in which date it was written, how many wastage was there. So for every challan they are asking it. So if you think that it's impossible to file, then take a call at least to file from now on. So please don't miss filing ITC 04. As I already said, it is the least hyped form, but we very much value it because of course there is a fear of general penalty being levied up to rupees 50,000 per return. That is there, but I'm more concerned about the view that would be taken by the department. They might say it as sales. They might say it as because we have not declared it in ITC 04. They might take a view saying that you yourself has not disclosed it as job work sales. So how job work supplies? So how we can consider it as job work and waive duty for that transport? So you should definitely pay tax for that. They may take an adverse view, which would be very difficult to prove for us, because as we have defaulted in filing ITC 04, we would be held guilty. So I kindly request to everyone to take this ITC 04 form very seriously. If any help, you can reach out to our team definitely. The due date is 25th October 2025. With respect to ITC 04 and all, from the inception itself, no due date has been extended. The one good thing is for ITC 04, no late fee is levied, at least as of now. So even if you file the ITC 04 for the financial year 2019-20 period, late fee is not being levied now. So please make note of that fact. Another thing, as I already said, GSTR 9 and 90 for the financial year, sorry, 24-25. The wordings are erred. For the financial year 24-25 has been enabled in the portal. I am not very sure if this yearly any GSTR 990 has been enabled, because ideally they would enable only in November, mid of November 2020, mid of November, as the December 31 would be the due date. But this time it's of course they are also improving from their front. They have enabled in the October build itself. But one thing we are concerned is the table 8A would not have been updated, because up to November, if we can take ITC for the financial year 24-25 means some supplier for March 2025 now only he can file return. November 2025 only he can file return. So in that case, I would request everyone to be ready with GSTR 990, of course, but file it after November 30, 2025. That is what I would request everyone. Of course, if there is no difference with respect to ITC, no difference with respect to liability, you may go on to file. Every GST or every ITC you have rightly claimed in GSTR to be within the correct due date. Your suppliers are very much compliant. In that case, not at all an issue. Otherwise, you can prepare it. Avoid the last minute rush definitely, but you can prepare it and file it after December 1, 2020. So that's all with respect to today's webinar. 1 minute, I will take if any questions are there. Yeah, I think there are no questions. Yeah, sure. So thank you very much for your active participation. As I already said, this is the tomorrow is the due date for internal due date for us filing GSTR 3B. So please file it within tomorrow. Please file the GSTR 3B within tomorrow. If there are any doubts in IMS, you can definitely go and check in the webinar. Go and check our webinar in the YouTube channel. And also, if there are any issues with respect to IMS, you can definitely reach out to us. For people who are fresh attendees of this webinar, we are Zentax Clinic. We specially handle GST litigation So with respect to GST notices, including DRC01B, 01C, or ASMT10 audit inspection, so anything, we handle it exclusively with an expert panel of chartered accountants. We also have a separate notice portal, which would be very much helpful for the auditors, tax professionals, who has many GSTs and are finding it difficult to keep a track of notices that are getting for their client, getting for their clients. It is absolutely free. You can go to zenttaxclinic.com and you can get access to that portal. So there are some questions. I would just take the questions and quickly round up things. Is there any time limit for accepting pending invoices? Sir, with respect to pending invoices, with respect to B2B supplies, there is no time limit at all. But with respect to credit notes, there has been only 1 month or 1 quarter. If you are a quarterly taxpayer, 1 quarter is the time limit. With respect to B2B supplies, there is no time limit. But of course, you should avail that ITC within the time limit prescribed in section 16 subsection 4, which is 30th November. Yeah. How to identify supplier filed GST or 3B or not? Prabhakaran sir, in GST 2 itself, if you see, there would be a separate column saying that GST or 3B filing status, yes or no. This you can do it while seeing table 80 of GST 9 also. That itself, there is a separate column saying that whether the supplier has filed GST or 3B or not. In that, you can definitely check, sir. Andy sir, hi, sir. Please, the changes in PDF. So I'm not able to understand. I think you are asking for the PPT. You will definitely share the PPT, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for your active participation. Wish you all a very, very, very happy and prosperous Diwali. Thank you. Meet you on to the next webinar. The next webinar invite will come around the next Wednesday. Thank you for the appreciation. Thank you very much.